Hello and thank you for joining us on ERi-TV. This is English News Broadcast and I am Salim Berhana. First, the top stories. Funeral service of Mr. Ramadan Mohammed Noor conducted. "23 patients diagnosed positive for COVID-19. COVID-19 cases increase in US and European countries. Global oil price recorded the biggest annual increase. The funeral service of veteran freedom fighter and one of the pioneers and prominent leaders of the Eritrean liberation struggle, Mr. Ramadan Mohammed Noor, was conducted today, 2nd January, at Asmara Martyrs Cemetery in the presence of President Isaias Afwerki, senior government and PFDJ officials, army commanders, as well as religious leaders, family members, and others within the confines of COVID-19 guidelines. President Isaias Afwerki, Mr. Yamane Gabra'ab, Head of Political Affairs of the PFDJ, General Philip Oswalde Yohannes, Chief of Staff of the Eritrean Armed Forces, and late veteran fighter's son, Kamel Ramadan, laid a wreath at the cemetery. Veteran fighter Ramadan joined the Eritrean Liberation Front in 1964 and was commissioner of the 4th Department in the early years of liberation struggle. Mr. Ramadan was one of the founders of the Eritrean People's Liberation Front. He was elected as the secretary of the EPLF in its first Congress. After independence, Mr. Ramadan served his nation and people as governor of the Northern Red Sea region and Minister of Justice. Veteran freedom fighter Ramadan Mohammed Noor passed away at age of 83 due to illness on 29 December 2021 in Khartoum, Sudan, where he has been receiving treatment. Veteran freedom fighter Ramadan Mohammed Noor is survived by his 6 children. Expressing a deep sorrow of passing away of veteran fighter Ramadan Mohammed Noor, the government of Eritrea and the PFDJ expresses condolences to the Eritrean people, families, and friends. We have an announcement from the Ministry of Health. 23 patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 in tests carried out today at quarantine centers and testing stations in the central and southern regions. Out of this, 6 patients are from quarantine centers and 15 patients from testing stations in Asmara, central region. 2 patients are from testing stations in Dubarwa, southern region. On the other hand, 10 patients who have been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central region have recovered fully and have been discharged from these facilities. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly increased to 7,773, while the number of deaths stands at 76. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 8,049. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 2nd January 2022. The residents of Unagudo, Kushet administrative area, have conducted extensive greening campaign as part of New Year 2022 celebrations. Speaking to ERINA, the administrator of the area, Mr. Tesfa Alam Takhlaimanot, Tsadadu, where the greenery campaign was conducted, has unique history and meaning as it was an area the Derg regime used to kill captives and civilians. Mr. Tesfa Alam also stated that efforts will be conducted to construct a martyrs cemetery in the area. Ms. Rahawa Qalata, PFDJ Secretary in Barrikh Subzone, on her part, called on all parties to strengthen efforts in the collection of the skeletons of the martyrs and building of a martyrs cemetery in the area. Mr. Tasfuf Sahatian, administrator of Barrikh Subzone, on his part commending the greening campaign that was conducted in connection with New Year celebration, expressed conviction that the administration will play significant role in realizing the charted out program. Now we'll be back with the international news after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The United States, European countries, and Japan saw record highs in COVID-19 indicators as the Omicron variant continued to spread during holiday season. The United States has set several new records in COVID-19 indicators. Over the past week, over 2,700,000 new cases and more than 9,000 new deaths was added to the tally, surpassing the previous record set in the first week of 2021. This is according to Johns Hopkins University on Friday. Several European countries have seen record COVID-19 infections in the post-Christmas days. On New Year's Day, England reported another 162,572 coronavirus cases in the latest 24 hours period, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases in the country to 13,100,458. According to official figures released yesterday. Italy also saw an increase in COVID-19 cases. The country reported 141,262 new cases of coronavirus in the past 24 hours. This is according to Health Department. Yesterday, Japan registered 535 new COVID-19 infections, with 79 being reported in Tokyo. It is the third consecutive day that Japan reported a daily count over 500, and the second consecutive day that Tokyo's new infection surpassed 70. Global oil prices recorded the biggest annual increase in 12 years in 2021, driven by economic recovery in many countries and a relative shortage of crude oil supplies, despite the continued spread of COVID-19. International oil price fell significantly on December 31, 2021. West Texas Intermediate for February 2022 delivery lost $1.78 or 2.3% to settle at $75.21 a barrel on the New York Mercantile Exchange. Brent crude oil March 2022 delivery increased $1.75 or 2.2% to close at $77.78 a barrel on the London ICE Future Exchange. However, the oil price on the New York Mercantile Exchange rose more than 55% in 2021. The biggest annual increase in the 12 years. The Brent crude oil price grew more than 50% in the year, its biggest annual gain in 5 years. Experts said the sharp rise in international oil price is mainly due to increased demand and a relative shortage of oil supplies, while easing concerns over the pandemic also triggered optimism in the market. And now let's remind you of the top stories. Funeral service of Mr. Ramadan Mohammed Noor conducted. 23 patients diagnosed positive for COVID-19. COVID-19 cases increased in US and European countries. Global oil price record the biggest annual increase. That's all with the news. Thanks for watching.